Welcome in, 49ers faithful. It's your boys, Juju Talk Sports, Jose Corral, 49 Reasons to Listen to right here. And we got a big time weekend, some nostalgia. We got the Niners versus the Cowboys in Jerry World, where the Cowboys are currently 3-point favorites. What do you think of that opening line, Jose?
I thought it made a lot of sense. Obviously, Cowboys get a lot of money when it comes to betting, probably the most popular team in the league. So it's, not a surprise that they're at home in a pretty anticipated home playoff game for them. Cowboys fans, as well as Niner fans, have been looking for a big time playoff game. So I think the -3 in favor of the Cowboys isn't a surprise. Now the real question is, would people like us pull the trigger? Will Niner fans pull the trigger on betting on a team like the Niners? And, if you kind of look at it matchup wise, it does make some sense that the Niners should go in there and beat them. What do you think? Do you think the Niners actually do have a chance to go in there and upset the Cowboys?
Not only do I think that they have a chance, I think that we're going to do it. I didn't really look at this matchup and think this is one I particularly wanted in the first round. Certainly when the options were possibly Arizona again for the third time, or even the Rams again for the third time. I guess I wanted to avoid that uncommon opponent as much as possible, and certainly the Cowboys do provide that. I can't even look at last year's game and give an honest assessment of what it means for this year's game, as they were starting Andy Dalton and we were starting Nick Mullins. And hell, Nick Mullins even finished that game. That was the game that Nick Mullins had his Tommy John injury and CJ Beathard had to go in and throw a Hail Mary. I was live in attendance for that game. I left Jerry World disappointment with my father, and I gotta say, out for blood this time around. I'm ready for it. Niners, don't let me down. I know we're coming off that big wild finish of a game against the Rams, but I think just certain things that we do match up really well against the Cowboys. Certainly the running game I think is a big difference maker. The fact that zone running scheme can average anywhere from 4 to 5 yards per carry, and the Cowboys allow anywhere from 4 to 5 yards per carry on average. I think that those work well in the Niners' favor in terms of offensive game planning. The big question mark is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo, and not because of anything wrong with Jimmy aside from, thumbs up, not really a great thing that he can really do this week. But we'll see how that continues. He was throwing some dimes in that game. He was also throwing some bad pickable balls that we saw in that game too. So it's hard to get a gauge on where exactly he is with that. Obviously, he had some help from some painkillers they gave him prior to that game. So hopefully those kick in a little earlier, because I don't know if it was rust or was battling through the initial pain, but there was something why he was off in that game. I just think that we match up really well against them. And then to the Cowboys, are they fraudulent? That's another thing that needs to be answered here, because the Cowboys, whenever they face teams with winning records or at least average records, they've not looked good. The bottom line is they beat up on the NFC East this year. To go undefeated in their own division says a lot. 6-0 in their own division against the Washington football team, against the New York Giants, against the Philadelphia Eagles and their second team, because the Eagles didn't even throw out their starters in that last game. We got some Minshew. We got a 51 points allowed. The Eagles didn't even care about week 18. So it's hard to even read what their most recent performance says about them now. Yeah, 51 points is impressive, but doing it against a bunch of scrubs for the Philadelphia Eagles, what does that tell me about your team? Not a whole lot. And just look at the other games too. I mean, hell, they lost bad to Denver. And what Denver did was they ran the ball extremely well with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. We have a similar type thing going on with Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel in our backfield. And I think that presents a lot of problems. Plus two, maybe a little bias here, but I think coaching. I think Kyle versus Mike McCarthy, I give us the advantage there too.
I was just about to mention that too. I think the head coaching is right. And this game is a pretty big mismatch, in my opinion. Mike McCarthy, I've been saying it all year long, even when the Cowboys went on that just crazy win streak at the beginning of the year. I said, if there's anything that's going to hold back this team from making a real serious run in the postseason, it is Mike McCarthy and some of the bonehead decisions that guy makes, and that confused look that he gives the camera almost on every single game. I think that's in a game like this, where it's a one game and that's it scenario, one bad coaching mistake could really cost you the game. Not to say that Kyle Shanahan hasn't had one of those moments himself, but more recently, he's had more success than obviously Mike McCarthy has in the postseason with that 2019 run. So I definitely do trust Kyle Shanahan a little bit more than I do Mike McCarthy. And the other main thing also is our secondary is going to have to hold up basically how they did in that second half against Los Angeles. I know the Cowboys lost Michael Gallup to injury, but that's still a very, very strong wide receiver group with Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, and Cedric Wilson will probably get a lot of looks now as well. So it's still going to be a tough task for that Niners secondary, which at least now is getting a little bit more healthier, and it is going to get healthier for this game as well. We're probably going to have K'Wan Williams back, which is actually going to help a lot on, coverage against guys like Dalton Schultz. So I think that's still going to be the main thing for the Niners in the postseason is how well can that secondary stack up against the opposition's receivers. If we win that secondary battle and we're able to make Dak Prescott uncomfortable in the pocket, I think we have a really, really good chance of going in there and coming out with the victory. I think that's going to 100% going to be the key. If you could get Dak Prescott, kind of flustered and not being able to get to his first target, that's when teams have success against the Cowboys. And if the Niners are going to go in there and beat this Cowboys team, it's going to have to be that way. You're going to have to get a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott.
And you're also going to have to keep pressure off of Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's going to start with Trent Williams being inserted back in this lineup. I'm going to be keeping a keen eye on those injury reports when it comes to Trent Williams this week, because the fact that he didn't line up against the Rams was shocking to me. I was not expecting that. Of course, the offensive line did a great job, like they tend to always do against Aaron Donald for whatever reason. But still, Colton McKivitz, I don't know if he can replicate that type of performance. So I think it's best if our Hall of Fame level left tackle is inserted back into this lineup. And like I said, if Jimmy's getting some painkillers, do whatever you got to do to get Trent Williams out there. This would be Trent Williams' first playoff appearance if he's able to get out there. So give the big man some opportunity there. Give him the opportunity to go out there and play in this big time game. Like I said, apparently today, too, as we're recording this, is the 40-year anniversary of the catch. So no more perfect week. Can I see a little bit of sprint right option? Can I get a little bit of Jimmy G to George Kittle in the back of the end zone just for some old time sake? Come on, give me a little bit of that. Inject that into my veins.
Already see it. I could already see it. I'm already imagining it. Us down 4, about a minute left. Yeah, Jimmy rolls out to his right. He doesn't do that often, but for this case, he does it on this play, and he finds George Kittle in the back corner of the end zone, and we move on to the divisional round.
Another thing to watch out for: Michael Parsons missed last game with some COVID concerns. So if he's back, obviously that is a big difference maker for that Dallas Cowboys defense. What are the chances Jimmy has the interception to Michael Parsons, though? I'm just throwing that out there.
Or to even Trayvon Diggs.
He loves middle. I'm just saying because he loves middle linebacker.
He loves it. Yeah. That seems like whenever Jimmy Garoppolo does throw an interception, it is towards the middle part of the field where he just doesn't see a guy right in the middle of the field undercutting a route. But you mentioned it. This Cowboys defense is way more improved than when it was last year. It was historically bad, and it was actually historically the worst defense of all time. And they kind of turned it around this year. And now you saw Trayvon Diggs, which, I mean, even with him, I know he's caught those 11 interceptions, but according to PFF, he's still the number 1 targeted cornerback, and he's allowed more yards than any secondary player in the entire league. So how is he going to match up against Deebo Samuel or even Brandon Ayuk is going to be a big question as well.
I think one thing that we should also think about when we think about this Cowboys matchup, and specifically the Niners offense versus their defense, is Dan Quinn being there. Dan Quinn, obviously former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons when Kyle Shanahan was on their sidelines as OC. And the last time that Kyle Shanahan went against Dan Quinn directly was, of course, that Atlanta Falcons 2019 game where Julio Jones just backed into the end zone to give the Falcons that win, which made week 17 that much more of a desperate situation than it needed to be. The fact of the matter is Dan Quinn, the former head coach there in that power dynamic, did get the better of Shanahan the last time they played, and the offense did look off. I don't know if that one was more of a letdown type game or of a trap type game. This one, there is no trap. No one's surprised. This is the playoffs, so no one's going to take this game lightly by any means. And we're just hoping that we could catch the Cowboys sleeping, or the Cowboys are just overrated, or whatever it is. We just got to hope that the stars align. The stars are right for this ritual for the Niners to get that victory and for us to go to Green Bay more than likely.
More than likely, unless Philly, as 8-point dogs go into Tampa Bay and pull off a shocking upset, then yeah, it looks like if we do end up getting past Dallas we are headed to Lambeau. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. But first, let's take care of Jerry and his boys and get out of Dallas in that miserable, pitiful stadium with the victory.
Damn, taking some shots there.
It's going to be red. Half of that stadium is going to be red, by the way. I have faith in my Niners faithful that they're going to show up and be loud, just like they were last Sunday against.
Did see a Twitter debate out there. That the Niners were already taking over that stadium. So let's hope that keeps up. I remember back in the day seeing Cowboys fans take over Candlestick. Let's pay it back here in the playoffs. Let's go, guys. All right. Drop below in the comments below. What do you think is the biggest X factor for the Niners going into this game? Maybe some score predictions. Do we want to do score predictions? Are we going to be so bold?
I'll give you one. 38-24 Niners.
38-24. Definitely betting the over there. The over is, I think, 51 points.
Definitely.
I'm going to say something like 24-21. I think.
Oh, in favor of Dallas?
No. You can't get me to do that. You can't get me to do that. Some old New Mexico boys here, talking. So obviously that's Cowboys country. So no, can't do that. We have a lot of friendships that we have to put on suspension for a week until this game passes. And even then, if it lingers into the offseason, those friendships might be forever fractured.
Oh yeah, probably.
Anyway, leave a like on this, guys. Obviously, it really helps us out. We've just been growing the channel like exponentially in the last few months. And we really thank you. Obviously, we have a playoff run here. So we want more Niners faithful on board here. We want to hear from you. We want to see, again, 49 reasons to listen. 2 right here. 2 reasons to hit that subscribe button. We will see you next time.